Okay, guys, so today we're going to be checking out this bloodbath that's currently unfolding here for Bitcoin, since that's where a majority, if not all, of the attention is focused on. But of course, as usual, none of what you're about to hear should be taken as financial advice, because I'm most definitely not a financial advisor. Okay, guys, so the first thing that I'm going to want you guys to do is to pay attention to what this fellow here is doing. If you guys who don't know, this is the CEO of MicroStrategy, Mr. Michael Saylor. And we'll get back to him in a minute. But guys, why do I want you guys to pay attention to what he's doing? Look at what occurred from around $77,000 right here, where Mr. Saylor decided to sell around 32 Bitcoins. Now, his recent sale was in 2022. That was just around 4 years ago, I guess. But why is this significant? Being the holder of one of the largest amounts of Bitcoin, amounting to around 850,000 Bitcoins, thereabouts. So basically, in essence, around 1 million Bitcoins. That is a lot of Bitcoins, guys. The CEO of MicroStrategy sold 32 Bitcoins at the price of around right here, around $77,000. And look what proceeded to occur afterwards. It could be other people selling as well. Most definitely, it's going to be other people's selling as well, as a result of other people selling as well. But the important part is he was most definitely the trigger. Why? Because tons of Bitcoin traders, and whales especially, they're going to use him as a marker to decide what steps they're going to take, what decisions they're going to make financially, if they're going to hold, if they're going to accumulate more Bitcoin, or they're going to consider taking profits, or selling at a loss, or selling. They're going to use this guy here. And so he was the first one to sell right here. And I honestly do believe that it triggered a sell-off out of fear. Now, this is very significant. This person here, he hardly sells, hardly. So why I want you guys to pay attention is, if this is what I'm picking up, what I'm feeling it is, what we're seeing so far is nothing. You see, I honestly do believe that if it's what I think it is, we may very well be at the start of a bloodbath of biblical proportions, guys. Yes. Because like I said, Mr. Strategy here has a lot of people who looks up to him that are in the space, and they look to see what steps he takes in the markets, if he's going to be selling, or if he's going to be buying, to decide whether or not they're going to be purchasing and holding long term, or they're going to be just selling everything. They use him to decide, and he is starting now to sell. Now, this is what I want you guys to know. This was the first sale that he made, right? Of only just 32 Bitcoins out of almost 1 million Bitcoins, guys. This guy is managing almost 1 million Bitcoins, and he sold just 32 Bitcoins, which is absolutely nothing in comparison to the stockpile that they have. And if right here he only sold 32 Bitcoins and caused this much drop in the markets, you guys see where this is going? The influence that he has with the markets is significant. It's very great. And 32 Bitcoins in comparison to 850,000 Bitcoins is absolutely nothing. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that if Mr. Strategy were to seriously start considering selling a lot more Bitcoins, it could get bad really, really fast for Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency markets in general, except for those coins that I've been highlighting here, of course. But yes, it could get bad really, really fast for Bitcoin and the crypto markets in general. If Mr. Strategy decides that, look, I'm going to get up and start selling a whole lot more Bitcoins. Now, this is what you need to know. Let me pull it up here on the weekly. Let me show you guys something here. Now, we see that it had come up all the way up here at 81, 82, and it got rejected very clean off of this purple line right here. Yeah, but what I'm going to show you guys is this. Right at the bottom of this candle right here is that 49 to 50K area, which I've been highlighting for many, many months now. I've told you guys this, I think it was around a year ago, that I'm expecting Bitcoin to come down to the bottom of this candle, right at 49K. Yes, guys. There are many videos which I've mentioned that as well, going back to almost a year now. Now, guys, this is significant. If Bitcoin were to drop down here around 50 grand, let's say from 50 grand to 40 grand, if Bitcoin were to drop down to from the 50 grand to the 40K area, MicroStrategy would have absolutely no other choice but to sell in order to pay off their debts. You see, so this right here, the 49, 50K down to around, let's just go ahead and call it from 50K to 40, right in between here. If ever you're to see Bitcoin coming right in here, just know that this right here is the liquidation zone for MicroStrategy. And they will be forced to sell. Now, if that happens, like I just tried to explain to you guys, it would trigger a panic sell-off. And like I mentioned before, they have so much more Bitcoins to sell. They have a great deal of Bitcoins, guys, that could adversely affect the markets if they were to start selling aggressively. And if Bitcoin were to come anywhere down here, it would only accelerate the sell-off that we're currently experiencing. So in my opinion, then, we have to carefully watch what MicroStrategy is doing. We have to watch these areas down here at 49, down to 40 down here. Because if we're to see a next sell-off, the sign would be another sell-off from MicroStrategy. However big or small it is, I don't care. If we were to see another sell-off from Mr. Saylor, I'd say that that would be it would be a concrete confirmation of what I just tried to explain to you guys, of what I'm thinking is happening. And we may very well be on the brink of another collapse, like a FTX style collapse, but on a much, much bigger scale. Because we're talking about around 1 million Bitcoins here, guys. You know what that would do to the market? And so this here is the liquidation zone. But let me pull it up again on the monthly. Let's say if Bitcoin were to drop down here in the 20s, let's call it from 25 to 20 grand, right in between here, from 25 to 20 grand. Guys, do you know what would occur down here? If Bitcoin were to drop down here, MicroStrategy would then become insolvent, which means that their debts would be greater than the amount of money that they're making. You see, and they would become bankrupt. They would become wrecked. And Michael Saylor would be in a great deal of trouble, because in a scenario like that, one can only imagine the amount of lawsuits that would be coming his way. Because a lot of his investors, they would lose a great deal of money, guys, because of the panic sell-off that his company would have triggered. And so that would put him in a lot of trouble. And I honestly do believe that what we're seeing, even with the MicroStrategy stock, MSTR currently, on the monthly time frame, it is down almost 50%. It is down 50%, as a matter of fact. There you have it. It's right there. It's down 50%, and it's continuously heading to the downside, guys. And I just have a feeling. I'm not entirely sure. It's just a feeling that what we're witnessing currently with MicroStrategy here is the first signs of a massive Bitcoin collapse, and what may very well cause the big flash crash and that liquidation candle that I've been calling for quite a while now, guys. From Bitcoin was up here once when Bitcoin was up here, I had called for this candle. I don't know how many of you guys have recalled that. You guys that are new to my channel, perhaps you don't know, but the video is there. When Bitcoin is right here, I called for this candle that came all the way down to 80, exactly down to 80. Right before it occurred, I called for it. And then afterwards, I mentioned that I was also looking for another one like it, but one that's much, much bigger. And I'm still calling for that candle, guys. I'm still expecting it. If it were to occur, it would surprise everyone else except for myself. I'm still looking for an unprecedented red Bitcoin monthly candle, a red candle on the monthly time frame that is bigger than anything that we've ever seen in the history of Bitcoin. I'm still looking for that, guys. I'm still expecting that. And that would be a liquidation red candle that would perhaps take Bitcoin all the way down to $20,000. It may even pierce $20,000, guys. I'm telling you, like, that is not at all impossible. We could have a candle bringing Bitcoin on the monthly, a monthly candle, taking Bitcoin all the way down to $20,000, liquidating and wiping out almost everyone that's in a leveraged position. Usually these things, they happen without warning. They catch people off guard. And so that is what I'm expecting coming up very, very soon for Bitcoin, because we already saw the trigger. Michael Saylor may very well be the trigger for this next liquidation event. Now we see here on the monthly that we're about to have a death cross. Over here, this death cross had occurred after we had this death cross here on the monthly for Bitcoin. We capitulated for months at the lower levels. Now, will we replicate what occurred at that cycle? Will we do the same thing again? Perhaps, perhaps not. I'm leaning more towards us doing something altogether different. You see, I believe that we're going to have a massive red candle, guys. I don't think we're at the bottoms as yet, because if we don't bottom at 49, as I've mentioned many times before, if we break 49, it will look more likely that we're going down to 20. If we fail to hold this very powerful level of support, that's what we've been doing this whole time. As I've highlighted to you guys, we've built support here for months. Therefore, this area that we're currently at is a very strong level, a very strong area of support right here. And so if we use it as support for these many months, you can know for certain that when the time comes for us to pass it again, that's after we come under, because I honestly do believe we're going to fail and we're going to come under it. When that time comes when we're about to pump again, this level is going to give us some problems again in the future. Because what it once used as support, a strong level of support, would then flip and now be used as resistance, a very, very strong level, a very strong area of resistance. It's what is going to act as next when Bitcoin is going to be in its next bull cycle and heading upwards. We're going to run into some resistance right here for a while. Even as it did here, it may not last as long. This was almost a year. This was very, very long, guys. We were just going sideways, consolidating here on the monthly for a while. So that's why we were still here for so long, because it's a very, very strong area of support. And at that time, it's going to be flipped and be used as resistance. So guys, we're still currently there. If it breaks, you know what's going to occur, especially if it drops below this 49K here. I honestly do believe we're going down to 20. And we have to watch Mr. Michael Saylor to see what he's up to in the coming days and weeks, if he's going to start selling more, because that would be in my opinion, a concrete sign that yes, MicroStrategy is definitely going down, and it's going to trigger a bloodbath and a Bitcoin collapse of biblical proportions. And it may very well be what triggers the Bitcoin flash crash to zero. Now, as far as the Bitcoin flash crash to zero, I've mentioned before that what I'm looking for in particular to know if it's going to be the Bitcoin flash crash to zero is if Bitcoin falls below right here, below, let's call it 16 grand. If I see Bitcoin drops below 16, 15 grand, then I will know that the flash crash to zero will be in play. That's what I'm looking for as it regards the flash crash to zero. But if it comes down to 20, as long as it remains above 16 grand, up to 20 grand, then a bounce is possible from these areas. As long as it doesn't break below 16 or 15K, then a bounce is possible. So that is what I'm looking at, guys. That is what you guys should also be looking at. Pay attention to what Mr. Saylor is doing, because he has great influence in the markets and he has already influenced this recent sell-off. Is he going to be selling more Bitcoins? Because a lot of people are also looking to see what he is about to do. A lot of these whales. And trust me, if they see him start selling again, oh man, it's going to trigger a cascade. And we're going to have a lot of capitulation going into the coming weeks and months. I don't think that it will take as long, because as I've told you guys before, whenever it's crashing, it crashes faster than when it's pumping. So it may take these many months to pump all the way up here, but notice that the decline is much more steeper than the incline. Notice that. So it's going to crash much faster than it had pumped. So there you have it, guys. You guys do with this information what you will. Be on alert, because all of this is setting up the wealth transfer. And all of this money is going to be pouring out into the prophetic meme coins. I've already seen people started moving their money out of Bitcoin into other blue chip coins. But if they knew what I know, they wouldn't have done that. They would have positioned themselves into the prophetic meme coins, but at last, they don't have that knowledge at all. And sooner or later, those coins that they had moved their money out from Bitcoin into, they're going to have to also panic sell those coins into other coins, into the prophetic meme coins, because this is how the liquidity will flow. Because those coins that they thought would be a better safe haven than Bitcoin will also capitulate. Zcash, XRP, and all of these coins, great capitulation is coming for these coins, guys. People are going to be selling at a loss from left to right. They're going to be FOMOing out and into these meme coins once they pop off, which is going to be very, very soon, guys. Very, very soon. The more Bitcoin falls, the sooner the time comes when these prophetic meme coins are going to pop off. But that is it for this video. You guys, please take very good care of yourselves. Peace, shalom. Until next time.